Ever wonder what your day would be like with Boom Radio? Yep, us too. We don't think about nightmares.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It is Boomba right here on your Boom Radio NG. My name is Dolupo. I bid you a warm welcome to the bar today. We're going to be talking about a lot of things. If you're just joining me for the very first time, welcome to the bar. It is where we give you everything sports, entertainment, politics, and everything else in between. Everything else in between can and might be anything, but it's definitely promises to be extremely interesting. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. And of course, for people that know us, we're going to be talking about a lot of things happening around the world and happening in Nigeria. One of the interesting things that we're going to be talking about today is the federal government and the educational sector in the country. There is a lot of basketballs that is happening at the moment from universities around outside the country, cancelling a lot of people's certificates to JAM and NECO, and there's really a lot happening there that we're going to be talking about, and still talking about education. There is an update from NELFUND loan, and some people accusing the government of a level of marginalization, and a bit of explanation on that. And still moving on from that, there is a lot of drama coming from the medical association. There is strike. There is also a bit of kudos to the Nigerian security agencies on that. So with that, we're going to be talking about a bit of politics as usual, and a bit of stories around the world, and sprinkling of sports and entertainment as well. So sit back, relax, and let's enjoy today's show together. My name is Dolupo. I bid you a warm welcome again to the bar, and with me in the studio today is Sola Rogers.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It is always a pleasure to be here at the bar. Let's go, people. Let's talk everything. Let's go.
Okay, so as usual, like I said, we're going to be talking about a lot of things today. And first things first, just want to put it out there. Let's start from basically the educational sector that we talked about. First things, there's been a lot of rancor from last week, as the Minister of Education is set to shake things up. And I think this started when there was an announcement from the ministry about the invalidation of over 22,000 certificates from Togo and Benin Republic. This announcement came last week, and that they were talking about how people, Nigerians that got certificates from most countries, most universities in this countries, that certificates are invalidated. Also, people that have gotten jobs in the federal civil service with these certificates are going to be retrenched. They're going to lose their jobs and all that. So it was actually, it's pretty much a lot of things in this particular aspect. So that definitely explains a lot. I think that basically started it. Now there's been an update on that. First, the Minister of Education had described that basically what happened is that these degrees are awarded from illegal institutions, and they are tarnishing Nigeria's reputation. In fact, it went further to say that the federal government only recognizes 3 institutions in Togo and 5 institutions in Benin Republic. And I think that's a huge number. That's what I mean by a huge number is
huge.
That's a huge disparity. That's what I wanted to say. From I think it's mind-boggling. I think it is mind-boggling, really, and truly, if that is where we are at the moment.
you know, it is indeed devastating, not necessarily to the people who are involved, but more to the Nigerian system. If there are over 21,000 people in the system already, and that's just for a short period. Do you understand? If they dig deeper, that means there'll probably be more.
There are a lot more, yeah.
You get. And the thing is, we noticed the trend, how Nigerians, largely due to our population, but majorly due to a failing in our educational sector. Nigerians would, say what you want to say.
So just wanted to put a comment out there. BT616 is talking to you. He says, the only offer for Osimhen is now 65 million from Saudi FC.
But we're not even talking sports yet now.
What is paining somebody?
This boy just put me in trouble. What? I don't... Oh boy, Osimhen, he gone. he should go and beg the people he offended.
Beg the gods.
But however, these are all speculations. I refuse to accept. We still have 3 more days, Abi.
Quite number.
The transfer window is open for another 3 or 4 days.
4 days.
Anything can happen. And if you don't know, the agent has spoken. His agent has spoken and he said that they must respect him. Look, the worst thing that will happen is that he will stay back in Napoli and be collecting his salary. Napoli's lost because they're the ones that gave him an extension to his contract in the first place. They're the ones that didn't allow him move last year when he wanted to move. So it's their problem. I hope I've done well for him here.
Okay, moving on. You were still saying something.
On the matter of education in Nigeria, because we must look at the root cause. In the first place, I'm not saying that people should not travel for education or anything, but that if we had an effective educational system, a lot of these people that found themselves in Benin and Togo would not be. It will be the reverse will be the case, I
don't think so, actually. Are we saying that people will still not do whatever it is? Because I think that also a lot of people. Sorry.
It kind of cut me off while I was trying to make a point, and I opened up by saying that a lot of them, I didn't say all of them, if we had functional tertiary institutions, it would not be fashionable to say you are going to Ghana, Benin, Togo, or Kenya, or anywhere, except by choice. A lot of people who have gone out of Nigeria for education, especially to African countries, is because they really don't have, proper chances to get into school in Nigeria. And they get into school, there's ASU strike. Somebody that is supposed to spend 3.5 years or 4 years ends up spending 6-7 years, in some cases 8 years, and due to no fault of theirs. So I was saying that started some kind of funny trend that made Nigerians step out to say we're going to Togo, Ghana, and Benin Republic. And of course, education is big business. Look, the schools in the US and the UK are constantly advertising their courses and their schools because they want Nigerians to come. They want people from outside their country. That's where they make their money from. Go and look at how much an average Briton will pay as against what a member of the Commonwealth or Nigeria as a system will pay. That's the point I was trying to make. However, the people that this has affected, because I was trying to lay the background towards what has led to people saying, look, there are even rumors of 1 or 2 Nigerians that own schools in those countries. Mm-hmm. Now, what has led to that is that it created some kind of awareness. Oh, you can actually go to school in those places. Oh, we didn't know. Where they start to go. Then, somewhere along the line, they found a loophole. Schools that were not properly accredited. Now, if we're not careful, those schools were springing up in Nigeria too.
Yeah.
I remember last year that they clamped down on 1 or 2 of them. And these are the things that happen. There's always the need. People must realize that there's a need for people to get certification. There was a time when satellite universities in Nigeria became an hydra-headed monster. You would find that Delta State University has a Lagos campus. Enugu State University, all these schools had Lagos campuses. But the law setting those schools up says that there's a limit to the distance of a satellite campus to the main campus. Mm-hmm. And meanwhile, a lot of Nigerians were already caught up in that system. What did they do? They all had to go to LASU. So I remember the Delta State University that was on Ikorodu Road became Lagos State satellite campus, and a lot of them packed up. Do you get? So I'm saying that there's always a loophole in the system. There's always going to be these problems. But if we do not create an enabling environment for people, they won't go seeking all these funny solutions. Now, to the people who have actually gone there for dubious reasons, is it not happening within Nigeria? There's a private university that some people under 3 years or so, or less than, they will get, I didn't mention any school.
A law degree.
They will get a law degree.
It's there now. It's based university.
Yeah, you said it.
I said it is what it is. It's public knowledge. However, BT 616 has stuff to say about Osimhen. I think that we will come back to his comments.
Read it. Just read it. No.
So he says
let me start.
He's off the field issues. The people he hangs out with is the reason why nobody wants him. See the type of people he hangs out with online. No class. It matters to big clubs, Sola.
I never said he didn't. I never endorsed any funny thing that he's done. Again, he's a Nigerian player, a Nigerian prospect that I want to do well. He's a very young man. He's still in his 20s, Abi. Mm-hmm. So I want him to do well. And I do not contradict most of the things you said. Even the last set of things that you said. I just want him to do well. And I believe that if he plays for Arsenal, Man United, or Chelsea, it will be a banger. That's my stance. Every other thing, it's all right. It's okay. No problem.
Okay,
but
so...
yes, he has his issues.
So now...
I pray he pulls through, though.
My issue with these universities is that, see, I don't even blame those universities. I blame people that are going there. And why I said so is that there is a level of research that you have to do. Take, for example, the people that are paying thousands and millions of naira to do a 5-year course in 3 years. You are a dubious fellow. I don't know, maybe there can be some explanation to it. You are a dubious fellow. If there is the issue of, okay, there's a quota that the school did not adhere to, that they're churning out, that's the fault of the school. The person coming in will not know. But you cannot tell me that you go to law degree and they tell you, this law degree is 3 years, and you want to get, is it LLB or what do they get for?
Lai boy.
Yeah, LLB. And in 3 years, the people that are doing it in University of Lagos, that are doing it in University of Ibadan, that are doing it in Ahmadu Bello University, that have to do 5 years, do they have 2 heads? I'm sorry. You must be a dubious human being.
And that's why some people will come on social media to say that kidney is not a crime.
Yeah.
What's that?
That defamation of character is not a crime. And you say that you're a lawyer. What kind of lawyer are you? So I would say it that I think that a lot of people always look for loopholes. Even in accredited universities in Nigeria, you see how people use fake results. People get people to write exams for them. Are you going to say it's the fault of the system that people don't know that you're not supposed to write, and then they get caught and then will start crying nonsense?
So without conflicting or mixing up issues, the first thing is that I have established what the issues are that has led to people wanting to go study outside Nigeria. The other thing that I was trying to say earlier, still back to it though, because I need to, conclude on that, is that a lot of people have actually deliberately gone to do that to get promotions and get jobs. And for as long as people are criminally minded, they will always think that they are one step ahead of you, the system, or anybody. Last week, this is not a school in Benin Republic or Cotonou. A Nigerian university in the South region had their students sanctioned by the authorities. Remember that they are saying that they didn't even qualify. They're not even supposed to be in the NYSC. The same system, and that's why I'm talking about the educational sector in Nigeria and the problems that are inherent in it. The same system. They're saying to people that let us know the authentic students that you have, so that how many schools can boldly, how many Nigerian schools can boldly hit their chest and say, oh, this is a database, an up-to-date database of students that came into this school authentic, through authentic means?
Okay, so BT6 has it in for me today and says, what is Dolupo talking about? Why can't the government regulate these schools? What agency approved it? 3 years. Nobody approved it. That's the problem. NUC did not approve it. So it is in looking through what they've been doing is when they realize that, okay, it started from let me explain to you. It started from the law school. Apparently, the school has only 50 students per quarter, per session for them to graduate. Now, in the space of 5 years, they have a backlog, and law school will not take more than 50 from that school at every point in time. Now, they have a backlog of almost 350 students that they have accrued over 5 years. According to the number, that should be...
And over those 5 years, they were still sending... law school was still admitting 50.
Yes. So what law school said was that with this backlog, it should have taken you 15 years to graduate this number of students that you have graduated in 5 years. So that is what started the investigation. Went on to check that the people that they're even sending to law school did not even do their complete 5 years. So now, there's the regulations are there. Why can't we do the right thing?
All the time.
All the time. We are very quick to say, yes, I get it. There should be more regulation. But how is it so difficult that we're always looking for ways to circumvent the system? That's where I'm coming from. Why are we always... Okay, I think I put it to a lot of people that went to these funny schools in Benin Republic, in Togo. In fact, according to investigation, even the countries that these schools are in do not even recognize these schools. I put it to a lot of people that people are looking for admission anyhow because you did not get admission in Nigerian universities, because your results cannot enter proper university. You are looking for a way to circumvent the system.
Again, some people have result to qualify, but they found that without even attending classes, they can become graduates.
Exactly. We are still...
A big shout out to the Nigerian journalist that went undercover last year. I think it's with Daily Trust or one of these newspapers, and the guy actually got a degree. I think in a matter of weeks or months or so. Oh my God. And the funny thing is, a lot of these people found their way into the federal government, and they're now working as, civil servants. And when we say they are evil servants, people will say we're being too harsh. Then again, these are the same people that will go on strike and be asking for minimum wage and maximum wage.
BT616 says in the abroad, if you graduate 1,000 students, they only allow you to take the board exams to practice if you meet the requirements. Graduation is secondary. Now, how sane countries they operate? Yeah. Yes, I agree with you. However, that's where this now comes to. When the school, if you that's what they're telling them, that for you to graduate this number of students, it's not our business. We're only taking what we gave you a quota for, and that's it.
Look, everybody's always trying to game the system. Everybody's trying to act like they are smarter than everything. Look at some of the things that we do in a country where we claim we want things to be all right. And your mommy, your daddy, your father, your mother, and you take your child to that miracle jam center.
Yeah.
Students,
what's happening pay for those things. Parents actually pay for those things. And then you're wondering, come on. Then you get into, for some funny way, you get into the university. And there's something, I don't know whether they don't do it in other schools. And I know that for a fact. University of Ibadan, how they actually, they're sure of your results, is that your admission letter does not come from the school. It is verified from JAM. So, if JAM does not give you an admission letter, then there's a problem.
Dolupo, miracle centers get admission letters for their people.
I get your point.
That's not a problem.
That's what I'm saying.
You're talking about one aspect
that's
of
what
it.
the university are by themselves. No, what I mean by
the problem I have and my fear is that this same person gets into school because the miracle center makes them pass.
Yeah.
They get authentic letters, which beats that level that Dolupo is talking about. And they're in school. Then there's nothing up there. They don't know what. So you know what they do? They do blocking. They start to settle lecturers and their classmates. For the ones that have money, and they start to do it until they graduate.
Until they graduate. So, BT61 says Dolupo will fight. So it's not the quota that we're talking about. Ex-med school minimum requirement is 90 credit hours. But to graduate is... to graduate is 120 credit hours. So when you apply, they look for that 90 hours.
Okay.
Get it? I get your point.
There's a standard
there's
requirement.
A standard requirement.
Which you must have met.
Are you sure that some people will still not circumvent the system?
But that's outside Nigeria. They won't be able to.
No, that's what I'm saying. That if you bring that same system to Nigeria, people will circumvent that system.
Yeah, I'm already seeing how they can do it. It's Nigeria. You know, but because again, you know that there are lecturers who would willingly
exactly
look the other way and walk them through this. You know, I don't know if BT616 and any other person that is watching us and listening to us has seen videos of how there's a particular content creator that goes to schools during their convocations. And at times during their matriculations, and he asked them very, very, like, okay, which course did you study?
Silly questions.
Which course did you study? And now you are graduating, you have the gown and the funny hat on, and they're asking you, and you don't even know. And you can't even spell basic things.
Because I get it that
a child in grade 1 or grade 2 will spell.
A system is problem.
Those are the bulk of the students that we're turning out. And the reason why is that they didn't even qualify to be in the uni in the first place. Then they walk their way through uni and still graduate. Now what? They will still look for a way to get a job. So they will get the job now.
So BT616 says, so if you like graduate in 2 years, they look at the transcripts and not just that you graduated. They care about the content of the degree. I get your point. However, if Nigerian system says you have to do 5 years, you should be able to sit with it.
Yeah, but you know, I'm basing it on everything he said is saying that, look, this is how other people are doing it.
There's a level of the
working.
content.
Yeah.
However, if you are looking at the number of hours you are done, are we sure that the Nigerian system, like you said, will not find ways? We'll see how people go to other countries, and then they come out with first class and they cannot defend it.
First class, no.
They can't defend it.
Even the one that has third class cannot defend it. Someone that cannot even write a sentence.
He says, "Keep going, we are going." Law.
Keep going, we are going.
Exactly. I honestly think that
I saw a skit. I saw a skit this morning, and these boys are crazy. You know how students are graduating and they're writing on their shirts and stuff. So one of them they were both, about 3 of them or 4 of them were in the video graduating. So one of them wanted to write on the shirt of the other one, and he wanted to write graduate. Then he wrote GRA, and he couldn't spell the rest. He cancelled it. Then he wrote GRAD. Then he didn't know what to write next. Then he cancelled it again. And I said, you see, a graduate cannot even write graduate.
Cannot even spell graduate.
Now, they did that for fun, but that thing is
it
real.
happens. Oh, it definitely happens.
Real.
So my question is, as much as, like I said, I will still go back to the fact that, yes, everybody, the system is this, the system is that. When do we start doing the right things as individuals?
We are going. This 616 is killing me, man.
It's ridiculous.
You know?
That's where I'm going to. Now, if you can go to other people's countries, we say our system is not right, Abi. You go to other people's countries and go to a university that is not even accredited by that country. So is Nigeria the problem?
Hey, they did it for your people, and some of your people are the ones behind it. When you go and find out, you will find out that those schools are created by Nigerians.
Now, they've officially announced only 3 universities in Togo and only 5 universities where your certificates can be accredited. And I think it's interesting.
A few years ago, when Nasir El-Rufai was governor, he tried to, to upgrade their teachers and their lecturers, and I think they put them through some kind of test, and a lot of them failed. And he said they were going to sack them.
Are you forgetting
and bring in
the
new people?
Interview between when Adams Oshomole was
That's
governor and a principal?
I was going to come to that, but in Kaduna, when this happened, the man said, "Look, some of you people, what are you teaching the children when you don't even know anything in the first place?"
Yourself, exactly.
And guess what? The Labour Congress started fighting. In Edo State, like Dolupo pointed out also, Adams Oshomole was governor, and a principal cannot even read her own certificate. Her own certificate. She cannot read it.
Anyway, talking.
She's not a regular teacher. She's a principal.
It's mind-boggling.
So when they can't do that thing here, maybe they've gone to a UI or a Unilag, and they couldn't pull it off. You know what they do? They step out. They step out to these magic universities.
Now, the federal government, this Minister of Education is really going to is vexing. I'm sure it's vexing a lot of people at the moment. As the man has now also announced that underage candidates will not be allowed to sit for secondary school leaving examinations by WAEC or NECO anymore.
How will they stop them?
So I'm guessing you have to submit your... however, he's saying that this is not a new law.
I know.
There's just never been reinforced. I didn't know. Honestly, I didn't know.
Remember we talked about it before now that...
So wait, so someone like me actually broke the law.
Just keep quiet.
Wow.
Don't be outing yourself like that.
I'm just saying. I'm honestly serious that I didn't know.
Move on. Okay, but this is it. The law is not new, and it is spun out of the fact that parents take their children through school in such, a fast pace that you're wondering, like, okay, where is this child rushing to? A lot of kids do not even get to primary 6 anymore in Nigeria, especially the ones in private schools. They don't get to primary 6. From primary 5 straight to college.
Primary 4. Some go to primary 4. From primary 4.
And this is a child that started grade 1 even at a younger age. Yeah. This child did not wait until he or she was 6 before the parents registered her and put her in grade 1. So by the time this child is like 9, 10 years old, is in secondary school. Then instead of spending the whole 6 years again, once this child is 14 or 15, they start to
once you're in SS2, you do GC.
They start to make them write, all these exams so that they don't even do their 6th year.
Yeah.
And by the time this child is 16, he or she is in university.
14,
then run through the system and graduate at 19 or 20.
Okay.
Because they're definitely taking them to one private school where they'll say there are no breaks and everything. And look at it. At the end of the day, the child is going for NYC at 20 or 21.
I didn't go to private university.
At 20 or 21, you should stop using yourself. At 20 or 21, they take them to NYC. Now, the child comes out. What next? You want them to quickly start work, start life and everything. You have rushed them through life to the point where they don't even know basic things that they should have known at their ages. But you know what? Now that the government wants to enforce it, I'm going to ask them how they want to do it, because it is the age that a parent declares that is the child's age.
Yeah.
So the system is just going to shift. Look at it this way. A lot of people have been, pushing to cut their children's ages to, their children are young. So what they're going to do now is to make it official.
Okay, so people are not going to be using birth certificate. They're going to be using that.
They'll go and swear affidavit now and say, this child is 7 years old.
So according
when the child is just 5.
So now, what they're saying that from next year, they will not be allowing underage children. He now explained that there is an explanation to it. That according to the 6334, children are supposed to begin primary education at the age of 6.
Yeah, we know.
And spend 6 years in primary school. What they're saying is that they're now going to be going back all the way, and you're going to have to present birth certificates. They're going to try to be enforcing that schools make sure you present birth certificates of these children. They're saying that if you follow the regular pattern, a child should be finishing senior secondary school and about to write WAEC or JAM at about 17 and a half years. So by the time you are getting into the university, that you're 18.
Exactly. But you see, it is easier said than done. I hope they have the manpower for this. I hope they have the grit and the power and everything that this will take for them to pull it off. But from where I stand, seeing how Nigerians are so used to doing this, you know, it's going to change. The trend used to be, for instance, we know a lot of people who are in sports who have cut their ages. Then we also know a lot of people who work in the ministries who reduce their ages.
Oh, yeah.
They entered at a certain age, or officially, but because they don't want to leave the system, because they want to work for 40 years, because they want to continue to collect salary and make sure that their pension comes at a certain age, they now start cutting their ages and all of that.
Sadly, the funny thing is that one of the few times that they now say go and bring all your credentials, then the numbers don't add up anymore.
It can't add up.
You know,
now.
Interestingly, this reminds me of a story that my aunt had talked about. Said that she knew this particular person as her senior, way a senior in secondary school. The person was, however, they found themselves working in the same place. They got in around the same time and they started working. They're kind of like what's it called, contemporaries at work. However, she said because she was admin and she was in charge of a lot of things, she found out that this person had now cut her age to, this person was about 3-4 years older than her normally, that she knew.
Now she's
that
now
this
older
person,
than the person.
She's now about 5 years older than the person. Except because of that, it's so bad that even this other person can't even call her by name because everybody thinks my aunt is older than the person. Like, it's that bad. And that she just smiles. That she just smiles and looks at her. Like, when she calls her, and then, because everybody like, okay, this person is your egbon now and all that. Then she has a very small frame, so you won't quickly know. So, she like that. She just smiles and looks at her like, go ahead. It's not my business. I'm Google you.
Like, that's exactly the problem.
Like, it's just a very, very ridiculous system.
And that is about to now become a thing, you know. Just after we had succeeded in trying to cut it down in sports to a large, especially in football, to a large extent now, it's hard for them to do it. But some people are still doing it anyway. There was a time when some people had 3 different passports. Footballers, 3 different passports with 3 different ages.
I think that,
you know, so we're always looking to game the system, looking to work around the system.
I think that if they're serious about some of these things, I think it's also even time they need to also work with the judiciary, because really signing of or getting age declaration affidavit is pretty easy to get.
Yeah.
Now, I think it's time to also work with the judiciary. It shouldn't be so easy anymore. And then, I'm sorry, maybe I don't. That almost is more. It was probably more difficult to get things like or a lot of people were unregistered. I think now there are a lot of young children. It's going to be difficult for you to explain to me that a lot of children that are being born maybe in the past 10 years don't have proper birth certificates. There's a lot more when it comes to records, when it comes to those things now. So I think that it will be difficult for you to bring a child at age 6 to me and then give that child, tell me that child is, there is an affidavit, age declaration. Where is the child's birth certificate?
It's still very possible.
I just think that those things, there needs to be a lot of work that needs to go on into those. But really and truly, looking back, I think that age 18 getting into university is not a bad idea.
Yeah,
honestly,
I also want to make a case for the exceptionally talented kids who might be allowed to have some kind of pass, you know.
We'll see what if they're going to explain that. Now, before we leave the issue of education, Southeast federal lawmakers had lamented, saying that because NELFUND had released a list of institutions that had benefited from the student loan, each school, they have announced probably then also put numbers, the amount of money and the number of students. There are over 20,000 students from different institutions that have already gotten monies for this. However, there's a very obvious exclusion of schools in the southeast.
Exclusion.
Yes.
They were excluded.
Or omission. Or at whatever it is. But it's obvious that on that list,
those words
there is
are making it sound like that's what happened.
No, that's what. Let me finish. There's an obvious absence. Let me put it like that. Yes, I think absence is the word.
That's better.
There's an obvious absence of southeast schools. Now, the federal lawmakers from the southeast had talked about this, and they're talking about. Now, NELFUND now has an explanation to it, saying that they had asked all schools to do the verification and all that. We were all here. We announced how they said that federal schools were the only ones that started doing it. It started from 28 institutions. Now they moved up to about 108 institutions that have gotten back to them. They've finished their accreditation, and they have allowed their students tap into this scheme. What they're saying is that southeast schools have refused to do the needful on behalf of their students. Now, I know that federal lawmakers and a lot of people went on social media to talk about this. And I'm like, why are we always very quick to say people have talk about marginalization? Simple task. Submit your students' data. How is that such a difficult task for you? Now, federal lawmakers to me, are kind of embarrassing themselves and opening the schools for things that you people are just like, make it make sense.
The way I see this matter is that people are playing politics with everything. You get, there's a thin line between politics and governance, but we seem to be stuck in politics mode, and some people want to do this for 4 years until the next election. It's not going to work. Now, it's a loan, it's not a grant. So there's nobody precluding or secluding or removing or preventing anybody. You apply for loans. Nobody's going to come and say, look, except it's money laundering or scam. Nobody's going to come and knock your door and say, take this loan. This is the loan that you should have applied for. We know you are feeling marginalized, so take it. No, it doesn't work like that. The reason why you apply is because you would also indicate that you are going to pay back. It's a loan. It's not a grant. How do you expect for people who do not apply to be given loans? They're just supposed to wake up and say, oh, we noticed a trend that people from a certain part of Nigeria are not registering. So let's just give them the money anyway so that they won't feel bad and they will not feel marginalized. Man, you better be marginalized if you don't play your card right. And how do you play your card right? Allow the young indigent students in this region and that region and every region to apply for these loans. They're called student loans for a reason. They're not called student grants. So it is disgraceful and extremely shambolic and embarrassing.
Not even one. Not one.
More than one lawmaker. Law. What kind of laws are you making? If you don't even understand the law in front of you, you are the people that passed the NELFUND law. Do you understand? Did you read the entire prospectus and the document setting up NELFUND? Have they breached any of that? If that is the case, you should not be advocating or complaining. You should be dragging them before a committee in the House. Well, you know why you can't do that? Because what you're complaining never happened. And we need to stop playing regional politics with every single thing. We need to stop it. We need to stop playing regional politics with every single thing. We need to allow people get this governance going and also call them out when they are wrong. But on this case, the entire lawmakers from the Southeast who backed that call are disgraceful And it's sad that they don't even understand the law that they claim to be. What are they doing against it? Whatever it is that they're
It's
supposed
interesting.
to be doing.
I think this is one of the things something like NAND needs to jump on.
Yeah, it's
They need
so
to
sad.
explain to me how not
Meanwhile-
one. It's almost like as if they all planned it.
Meanwhile-
Not one institution.
Meanwhile, this is my call to students from the southeastern part of Nigeria. Please, if you need that money, if you need the loan, can you follow up with your school? Can you guys organize yourselves into pressure groups and
To
go
explain,
together
it's ridiculous.
and actually apply for this loan through your schools? And also ensure that they send your names to
they can't
the
even
appropriate-
apply. That's the problem now, because their schools have not done proper verification.
I'm saying that they should apply through their schools. They should go and apply pressure on their schools. That's what I'm saying. The proper verification is not the school that will do it.
Yeah.
So,
It's just ridiculous.
So this is me
It's
being
ridiculous.
practical. If a group of students, let's say a school that has 10,000 students, and 2,000 of them want this loan, and all those 2,000 or 50% of them march to the VC's office, it won't listen to them. It will not come out to address them. It will now, and so that's what we're saying. So to all my brothers and sisters in the southeast and schools, please put pressure on your schools so that you can get this loan and start to live a better life.
So
and be guaranteed your
BT616
education.
says they will not follow up and blame their leaders in the east. It's easy to blame other tribes.
It's actually sad.
I just
because-
think it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, are you kidding? And it's almost like I said, it's almost like as if they all planned it. Not even one institution.
What if they did
What if they did what?
plan it? You think it's impossible?
Okay, so then nobody should come and cry marginalization.
If they don't cry marginalization, then what do you think will happen?
Okay.
What if this was
It's
the plan
obvious
all
that
along?
nothing is gonna happen. It's obvious that
Exactly.
every other school decided to do whatever it is they did. You didn't, and your students are not getting it. It's simple and short. It's a very open and closed matter. Now, before we quickly leave the issue of education, it's official that 20 medical students that were kidnapped in Benue have now been released. This operation was said to have been coordinated by the Office of the National Security Advisor. The police, the DSS, and military personnel were all involved in this operation. All these students came back alive. Also, kudos, because the kidnap kingpin was said to have been killed. 2 others were also said to have been arrested. And why I'm happy about this is that even when there's a rescue, you never hear whatever happened to these kidnappers.
Yeah, again, most times you don't even hear about the kidnappers at all because a lot of people allege that those rescues are actually ransoms being paid. You've heard a whole lot of stories. People will tell you, "Oh, don't mind the police. The family paid a ransom."
Exactly.
And we've heard all those stories before. However, there are situations where the family is encouraged to pay a ransom so that they can use the transaction to track the kidnappers and all of that. So it's not every time that the police just run away from their responsibilities and duties. But on this particular one, a big shout out to everybody that worked on this and got this to fruition. Like, they got results. And thank God it did not extend for too long. The real matter now is how they can pump those 2 that they arrested alive,
Yeah.
and how
for
they can get information out of them. That's one. But 2, that particular road in Benue State is notorious for this thing.
Interestingly, these students were just passing Benue. It wasn't even, they were just coming, they were going to Enugu. It had nothing to do with Benue State. They were coming from the north and they were going to Enugu. Also, BT616 says the victim card is real. They want Tinubu to look bad.
Yeah.
Let's even assume that's the real. The bottom line is students are not getting the money that they can get. At the end of the day, who's
the
affected?
students are collateral damage in this grand game of politics.
It just doesn't
that
make any
some
sense.
people are playing.
It doesn't make any sense to me. It just doesn't.
It's sad.
It is sad. Quickly, before we leave that whole issue, sadly, Nigerian resident doctors have begun a 7-day warning strike because of an abduction of a colleague.
Yeah, Dr. Popoola who works in Katsina, right? Abi
Mm-hmm.
was adopted along with her husband and her son, and she's said to have been with these kidnappers for about 8 months or thereabout now. A few months after, I think sometime in March or thereabout, her husband was released out of captivity by these people, but they've held on to her. I think her son too. I'm not too clear about that, but I know they've held on to her. And within the Katsina State Teaching Hospital and other institutions, there've been some, awareness being created about this lady who has been incarcerated or arrested by kidnappers, more or less. I'm sure that I do not encourage these things being ransomed and all, but if they had wanted money, maybe they would have given them. I think this family or our colleagues would have rallied round.
It's sad.
It's so painful that it's been so long, and especially when the doctors will look around and say, "Oh, we had some young students, medical students, who were rescued recently, and what are we saying? Are we going to abandon our colleague?" Because I was looking at the picture of these doctors in Katsina, and I am sure, because I'm seeing it on their faces, that a few of them will be thinking it could have been them.
It could have been anybody.
So this is also a clarion call to the National Security Advisor and the entire security network. They need to get those guys and get them ASAP.
Yes, it's just sad. However, the police had said the bandits attacked and rescued 5 kidnapped victims in the same Katsina.
Yeah, so in Katsina, in Benue, in Jos, even in Lagos.
Oh, yeah.
Last week in Ikorodu, a group of kidnappers were arrested by the community, by the young people in the community. Those guys had been at it for months, and they had, messed the lives of many people up, and they were actually arrested.
And that's how much even the society can really help. We need to look out for ourselves more, basically, at the end of the day. That's where
what they say, if you see something,
say something. Now, moving on from that quickly, NDLEA has arrested a Vietnam-bound businessman that had 68 wraps of cocaine that he had ingested.
If we were collating results for the drug Olympics, he didn't meet up to the guy last week.
No, last week. So no, he did not meet up to the last week.
That guy must have been some kind of one beer for him to have ingested that many.
Yeah, but I think it was over 100.
Yeah, and this one, 68 pellets of drugs and all of that. It shows that no matter what you say or do, no matter how hard you think you're working, the criminals are always thinking as criminals.
Okay, so BT616 says, I won't be surprised if Obi Ekwele, I don't know. I think I know what you're talking about, who you're talking about, but I'm not going to presume. And others influence the East unis not to follow with the loan.
It's very possible.
It's possible, but I'm still saying that at the end of the day, who is at the losing side? It does not make any sense
whatsoever. The losing side is relative. If they are able to discredit this government and continue to pile pressure on them and make them look incompetent, in 4 years' time, they might just use that to win an election. So who's on the losing side?
Southeast.
The losing side is relative.
The same Southeast. Don't let's go to that conversation. Don't let's go into that conversation today. Okay. Anyway, we're moving on from that quickly. Now, moving on to a bit of interesting conversation, since we're talking about politics. The WTO DG, that's the World Trade Organization DG, Dr. Okonjo-Iweala, while talking during the NBA conference, has said that politicians need to stop weaponizing insecurity against the government of the day.
They need to stop weaponizing.
So for someone like
everything.
her to say such a thing, they're saying that there are a lot of politicians that are sponsoring insecurity just to discredit the government of the day. And at the end of the day, who are the people suffering?
Yeah, if you check it out, you look at how a lot of so-called documents are being leaked. a lot of allegations here and there online, you know that there's some kind of machinery, some kind of thing in place, churning out problem after problem after problem, So the hallmark of a good leader is that they also have to excel regardless of all these things. But a big shout out to, Auntie Okojo Iweala, right? For calling politicians out. The prayer is that they listen to her, because some people, that's the only way they see that they are going to, achieve their political goals and aims.
Now, still talking about politics. Dino Melaye is in the news as a PDP group has now slammed him for criticizing a bit of PDP chieftains, basically where he described that as a commercialization and privatization of PDP, saying that the PDP is over and all that. So the man still seems like he's pained.
Oh, well, look, man contested for Senate, lost, contested for governorship, lost, supported a presidential candidate, lost, even after hitting himself on the floor, on the stage, hitting his head,
all the drama. So for people that do not know, Dino Melaye over last week had written on his Twitter and said, "End of the road for PDP as Damagum, Bature and Anyewu irredeemably destroyed the party." We'll talk about the commercialization and privatization of PDP. PDP is now once upon a time. Are we saying that he's leaving again?
Well, he's a politician. You don't expect them to. There's a picture of him with Gbajabiamila, Miller, I think, at a party at the weekend or something that emerged, and people were already speculating that the transfer window is still open. That's maybe Dino is negotiating his return.
On a free transfer.
But you won't put it past him. He used to be Bukola Saraki's right-hand man and main man. Then he became
Then he bounced. Yeah.
Then he became Atiku's guy.
Remember that before that he was in the APC.
They were both in the APC. They left. I'm talking about when they left.
So even in the PDP, he moved camp.
Yeah, he was Saraki's person. Then Saraki was going to contest for president. Atiku was going to contest. And of course, he moved to Atiku's side of things.
Everybody
is upwardly mobile. SDM is upwardly mobile.
You are looking for trouble.
I'm speaking the truth. I am just speaking the truth. It should come and contravene what I've said.
Anyway, moving on from that, we're going all the way to Edo State as the Court of Appeal has now voided judgment that had faulted the Edo PDP governorship primaries. So basically, they're saying that the Federal High Court did not have jurisdiction to cancel the primaries. That's the main basic issue.
That's not good news for the PDP.
Now, my problem is the
is it good
what
news
they're
for
saying.
them?
It's for the PDP. Yes, it is good news for the PDP.
It's good news for Asue Godalo, right?
Yes, it is good news for Asue Godalo. So according to them, they're saying that the trial court lacked jurisdiction to entertain the suit, not because of the court. They're saying that of the aggrieved delegates because they lacked necessary legal rights to initiate the suit.
So the delegates were not the ones that initiated the suit. Who was the person? Was it just a party member or one?
No, they said it was the delegates. They're saying that the court said that how PDP selects its candidate is solely the jurisdiction of the PDP.
So that's what
and that the courts cannot interfere.
Okay. So, and in the process of selecting, if people are disenfranchised, the court can still not help them. When as much as over 300 people claim to be disenfranchised.
I think that this is a very funny matter. So are they saying that any case that comes, when it comes to primaries, a court cannot?
Is it not the same? Aren't there supposed to be some things in place? Like, was INEC there? Did INEC approve? Did INEC come out to say, oh yes, these 300 people were not the authentic ones? And all of that. I think that the law is supposed to be, about the truth.
So according to them also, they said that candidates who did not participate in the election do lack locus to challenge the outcome of the election. So what they're basing this on is the fact that they were not even included in the election.
Yeah,
well, isn't that what the fight is about?
That's about candidates in the first place. What about the delegates who were precluded and, prevented from
That's why I'm
voting?
saying that if you're saying that they lack locus because
No,
they
you're
did
saying
not,
candidates. You say candidates.
Sorry, not candidates. What I mean by is delegates. Sorry, I wanted to say delegates. So if you're saying that the delegates did not, they were not involved in the election, so they cannot.
It's something.
Isn't that's their whole point, that they did not include
them? It's actually
them?
something that's worth taking. I don't think the appeal court has the last say on this.
No,
it's something that is worth taking to the Supreme Court for proper, clarity and interpretation, because I don't see a situation where over 300 people claim to be disenfranchised. You must establish that they were disenfranchised or not. Beyond the fact that, okay, there's locus issues, and the locus is about the candidate, not the delegates.
We'll see where all this drama is going to, because I think this case is still going to go to the Supreme Court. However, the APC has nominated candidates for the upcoming Benue local government elections. Also, a court has freezed 32 individual and company bank accounts that are linked to people that had sponsored the End Bad Governance protest. Now, where this is interesting to me is that are they saying that individuals or companies cannot sponsor protest?
Isn't it obvious that you shouldn't? Do you understand?
So, okay, what they're saying is that protest should just be spontaneous, and there shouldn't be anybody giving anybody money or providing anything for people.
They're not saying it's spontaneous. There's a process to protesting. There's a process to, civil. I won't use disobedience, but let's say the right for you to protest is a civil right. You get, but when people are receiving funding for this purpose,
there's a problem.
There is a problem, because again, when it became violent, you start to wonder, like, is this what the funds were for?
Meant for? Yeah.
You get, and that starts to look like the way you start to hear about cyber crime and terrorism funding and everything. This is where it
starts from.
It's emanating from and everything. So for me, I feel for those people. I hope that whoever has been flagged would have evidence to say, no, I did not sponsor any terrorist.
Okay, now finally, before we go, though, I thought we were going to go a bit of sports, but since we do not have time, interesting news as a particular social media personality, the person of Very Dark Man, seems to have been angry after Bobrisky had come out of jail to announce how a lot of celebrities gave him money. Somebody gave him 6 million. I think that's the ante that it was during our events that it was because of our events that that the old drama started. I think I remember. So I think it's okay. Maybe it was just a form of compensation. However, I said that he said that Don Jazzy gave him 4 million. I think Tiwa Savage gave him 2.5 million. Different people gave him 1 million and all sorts of money, and he came out to say thank you. And VDM is saying that they're not encouraging him. However, to each his own. So,
one, he raised about 70-something million for going to prison. Nigerians will always reward bad behavior. I've said it before. I'll say it again.
He said he was feeding people in Kirikiri prison.
We're happy for him. He should go back and feed them more. The thing is that Nigerian celebrities will stand up for each other. Forget anything that anybody is telling you. If someone's character is bad or not, as long as they find value in the person.
Yeah.
And it's obvious that they find value in
Bobrisky. Yeah.
And that's why they will spend their money the way they choose. It's their money. They made it. Yes, they made it off your streaming and you going to their shows.
You chose to.
They didn't force you.
It's the same way you chose to spend your money the way you want to spend it.
Exactly. They didn't force you. And as much as I align with some of the things that the Very Dark Black Man has said, Very Dark Black Man and people who say this particular line I'm about to say always make me laugh. When you say you've lost respect Who gave you
you
respect in the
what
first place?
does your respect
What does your-
affect? Exactly.
Keep your respect aside.
That's
you
me.
know?
My
So-
own. When I saw this, the bottom line was to each his own. They decided to spend their money
Yeah.
anyhow.
Yeah, so
How is it
you two
stopping
that
your
are doing all this, you should know how you support them too. If you don't like what they are doing,
Exactly.
But if you like what they are doing, please support them more. Buy their movies, download their songs, support them so that they can do what they do, and you
What
too
they
can
do.
do what you
What
do.
you do.
You are finding joy in what they do, and they are finding joy in what they are doing too. So, but stop saying that you lost respect for someone. Your respect
your
don't
respect
mean anything. You don't mean anything.
Anyway.
But if you believe, I like what he stands for in the area of saying that we're obviously sending the wrong signals to our kids by saying this particular lifestyle, keep
It's
it
okay.
up. Keep it up. Keep it up.
Anyway, on that note, that is all we're able to take today on the bar. Thank you for listening. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for all the comments. We'll be back again tomorrow at 3 p.m. West African time to give you another wonderful edition of the Bomba. Do have a beautiful, beautiful day ahead.